sky, 'cause you're a sky full of stars.
Alright, gonna do another fly here today. It's called a Badger Intruder. Came up with it a couple of seasons ago. It's definitely an intruder style, I guess you could call it. And I know that a lot of talk about what an intruder is in recent years. This one, you know, it's got the buggy look of an intruder. It's got the flowing grizzly hackle. It's got a few things that resembles the original intruder. But again, that's all in the opinion of whoever's looking at it, I guess. I'm going to start with the liner tube, and I'm going to start with a barbell tube. Probably not a barbell tube, a nubby tube. It's just a standard metal tube with kind of a ball on the end. We'll insert our liner tube. We're just going to burn the back end of that. Now with any hybrid tube, we know that all the tying is done on the actual plastic, not the metal. The metal is just kind of the body of the fly, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to cut this down a little bit, so maybe just over an inch of tube is coming out the front. Okay, we'll get this onto our mandrel and into our vise adapter. Okay. And again, with any hybrid tube, you have to start by tying kind of a butt of thread right in front of where the metal and plastic meet. And that's just going to make it so that the metal doesn't spin and that your plastic's all secure as well. Alright, we're going to start by winding on some, this is Indian badger hackle. Get a few of the bigger feathers, probably 3 I would say. And this fly, the Badger Intruder, gets the name, of course, from the badger hackle. Use it in several different parts of the fly. So we're just going to trim off the butt. And really simply, we're just going to kind of make a base of wound hackle. Just going to wind forward. And depending how big or how long you want this fly will determine how many hackles you wind on. I think I'm going to do 3 for this one. I love badger hackle for one main reason. It's just the two-tone effect. So you've got the dark in the inside, and then whatever color is dyed, or if it's the natural, the light on the outside. I just love that transition. Okay, I'll put another one on. And again, I say use the Indian badger. It's way more economical than taking badger off one of your #1 capes. Save that for the dry flies. Okay, there's 2. At this point, it kind of looks like a big steelhead bee almost. Just a big mess. But we'll comb everything back in a minute. Okay, and 3. Okay, I'm going to brush everything back. Just tie back a little bit, just to get it starting to sweep back. Okay. So what that does is with the nubby tube has that ball there. If you remember from the start of the video. So it's got that ball at the front. Okay, that already kind of props the wing up, and then putting the three hackles also is going to prop up. So you know, most people know that with any intruder style fly, you don't want to have the fly lay totally flat, totally compressed. You want it kind of flaring up a little bit. That just helps with the look of the fly. Okay, at this point I'm just going to add some flash to this. This is a gold Flashaboo. Just going to add a little bit in on all sides of the tube. Not too much though. And normally I would just rotate that, but you can see I just rotated it right off the screen, so I'm just going to twist the tube around by hand so you can see everything. Okay, so just a little bit of flash. Now I'm going to add some Intruder Grizzly Hackle. Now, Intruder Grizzly Hackle, we brought these in especially for intruders. Really nice long stuff that, you know, you can take one feather of these and get probably 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 feelers on an intruder fly. I mean, if you're tying a dry fly hackle with these, the biggest you could probably go is, you know, size 16 or 18. They're really skinny, and you can see there, you know, most of them at least 10 inches long. So what we do, of course, you get the first one has a natural tip on it. Okay, and we'll tie that in. Okay. The next one you're going to try and match, you know, roughly match the same length. And all you're going to do is you're going to use the same feather and just cut it diagonally. You don't get a perfect tip on it, but you get a pretty accurate one. So we're going to put in 4 gold. This is our gold color. Kind of going to put 2 in top, or on the top, and then 2 on the bottom. So you're going to end up with 4 gold and 4 yellow. Now you can use Lady Amherst pheasant with this too, pheasant tail. You don't get the same length for sure, and you don't get the same grizzly barred effect. You slightly do, but you know it's a more economical way to do it for sure, unless you want to go with the grizzly. Okay, so you've got the 4 grizzly, the orange. Now you're going to go do the exact same thing with yellow. And if some of them are a little longer than the others, no big deal. And if they're not perfectly placed all the way around the tube, again, not a big deal. Once the fly kind of comes together, it's not a big concern. Just try and get 2 somewhere on the top, and then 2 somewhere on the bottom. Now this is a fly too. We've done a pink variation on as well. Fish seem to like that too. As anything though, you can do any variation you want. So that's what it looks like so far. It looks pretty buggy. Almost looks like a musky pattern, a small musky pattern. Now we're going to add a collar to this fly. Okay, you're going to add a collar. We're going to add one more badger hackle as an actual hackle, just to kind of pull everything down again. So one more. Like I said, it's called the Badger Intruder for a reason. Okay, and then we're going to finish our final hackle on this before we add in the kind of crazy looking wings. Is we're going to add some, this is just guinea fowl, dyed gold. Okay, and we'll start with one, and if we like the looks of one, we'll leave it at that. If not, we'll throw in another one in front of it. I always like guinea on steelhead patterns for sure, because again, they add some variation, that just like with the grizzly, the barrings there, the spotted guinea adds that same kind of variation in the front. I think the fish like it better. I'm not sure, but definitely adds to the look of the fly. Okay, so we'll wind it on, kind of just folding it back as we go. Okay, we'll pull everything back, and if you think it's enough guinea, then you can leave it. I think I'm going to go with one more on this. Yeah, definitely go with one more. You're just going to trim the guinea down. Tie it in for the tip again, just like the last one. And same deal, wind forward. pull back just like you did before. Alright, so that's the basics. Now we're just adding the wing, and we're doing this in a style, I know we didn't come up with it, but it's called a double wing, and on a tube. In fact, it may have been Yuri Shumikov that first did it. A double wing is where you have a wing on the top and a wing on the bottom. And it's you know, I'm not sure if it helps the fish, or pardon me, helps the fly kind of sit better in the water, but whatever it does, it makes the fly look good for sure. I'll show you what I mean. So you're going to put the top wing in like you normally would. You're going to take 2 feathers, again from an Indian badger cape, 2 feathers, and you're going to match up 2 more feathers alongside those. So if you can see this, so you've got 2 feathers facing the same way, just like you would match up for any streamer, and you're just going to kind of measure them. So you want, on this fly, I'd like it to go, you know, definitely not as long as the guinea, but a pretty substantial wing. And I'm going to cut all 4 feathers and pull back little barbs. Okay, and again I'm going to look, that's about right. So now I'm just going to separate and take the 2 outer feathers and tie them towards me. Okay, and I'm going to take the 2 outer ones and tie them on the other side. And you're just kind of laying them, not tent style, but just like you would actually any kind of traditional streamer. Okay. And normally I would rotate my vise, but it'll go to the picture again, so I'm just going to rotate the tube. So now you can see that the top wing becomes the bottom wing here. And yeah, there are guys out there that think the double wing will give it kind of like a rudder action in the water. It'll make it, you know, go in the stream more stable, I guess you could say. I'm not quite sure about that, but the look is there. I like the look. I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did at the top. I'm going to measure up 4 feathers. Again, so you got 2 and 2. You're going to put them together and roughly get them about the same length, just like you would for any streamer. Now, it's important here that they match the length of the first ones we put in. Well, not totally important, but it might look a little silly otherwise. If they're not perfect, that's fine. Okay, same deal. I'm going to tie 2 in on my side, and then the other 2 on the other side. Like I said, this technique's just called the double wing. I know I've got some fishing buddies that the first time I showed them the double wing, they asked me if it was a fishing lure or a fishing fly. It definitely has a different look. Alright, I'm going to finish this fly with a little bit of jungle clock. Just some cheeks here. I'm going to lay these just almost directly sideways, or laterally, a little bit up maybe. Since it's got the double wing, this fly doesn't really have a bottom or a top. It has 2 sides, but they're almost interchangeable as far as what's bottom and what's top. And I'll just finish with a couple half hitches, not too worried about a whip finish since I'm going to epoxy the head. Right, and there it is. A double wing style Badger Intruder.
I'm gonna give you my heart, 'cause you're a sky full of stars, 'cause you light